Hey everybody, it's Shizug and welcome back to this meta update. We're looking at the new changes from the October 10th patch. We're going to be looking at the big picture changes of the miscellaneous gameplay updates that are going to affect each and every game that you play, and we're going to be breaking them down and how it affects the metagame moving forward. Let's get into the first set of notes. First off, the Trooper's attack range versus Lane Guardians has been reduced. This means that Troopers are going to walk up closer to the Guardian, and it's going to make it easier for people to melee secure some of these last hits instead of having them down on the ramp instead. Additionally, players now need to be within 19 meters to attack a Lane Guardian, and note that Valve says this is above the ramp. So now you can't do the sliding backwards trick to give yourself infinite ammo while attacking the Lane Guardian. You need to commit at the top of the stairs and use that one magazine that you're provided to do damage to the Guardian in that time. There's no extending your magazine, infinite ammo on shotgunners isn't a thing. This change really hurts heroes that use shotguns, such as Pocket, Yamato, Abrams, because a lot of these heroes could use infinite ammo to attack these Guardians. You could actually end up sliding over and over and extend your mag infinitely to infinitely attack the Lane Guardian. So if you've got a kill in lane, this could easily shut a tower on the shotgunners. It's a huge nerf across the board for shotgun heroes. Additionally, Guardians now take 70% less damage from Troopers at the start of the game, and that goes down by 10% each minute for a maximum of 30% increased damage at 10 minutes. So what this means is that if you get a kill in lane, going up and attacking the Guardian is probably not the best option anymore. The Troopers, which make up a large part of that damage that you're going to do to Guardians, are no longer going to do as much damage to it. What we saw in the last patch is that you die and then your Guardian would get taken by 2-3 minutes, and now Valve is trying to say that we don't want that to happen anymore and we're walking that back. And additionally, building on that, Guardian damage versus players is now increased by 20%. This means that Guardians are going to damage you more if you're trying to dive your opponent. So this means that you're going to have an easier time in a losing lane. Your Guardian's going to stay up for longer, it's going to do more damage to people who attempt to dive you. The other heroes who are posing a threat are going to need to commit harder to do damage to your Guardian, and it's going to be easier to melee secure last hits on Troopers that walk up to hit your Guardian. So this is going to extend the traditional laning phase as opposed to last patch where we saw it shortened. This is trying to give us back some of that longevity of the early games so that we can stay in our lane and kind of play it out a little bit longer. The next set of changes is actually also related to the laning phase adjacently. The biggest thing is that medium camps are now, instead of spawning at 7 minutes, they're now spawning at 5 minutes. So this means that that old timing of 7 minutes where the map would light up, that's kind of going to be in waves now. At 5 minutes, you have the option to either push the Guardian or you can back up and hit a medium camp. There's more options to try to collect more souls in the early game, and I like this change a lot. It's nice to see that camps are going to be more of an option early. And then Valve did the opposite. With hard camps, instead of spawning at 7 minutes, they're now delayed till 8 minutes instead. I don't think this makes the biggest change because I don't really know of a lot of heroes. Maybe it's a McGinnis nerf, a Bebop nerf. There was some heroes that could commit their ults to farm hard camps really early on. So it's going to hurt those heroes, but overall, it isn't the biggest change. The next change is that our teleporters are now opening at 8 minutes instead of 10 minutes. And additionally, our trooper spawn bounty lane end time, it's now being changed from 10 minutes to 8 minutes as well. So what Valve is saying is that they want the laning phase to last longer up until the about 8 minute mark, and then they want you to diversify in what you're doing. They want you to go move around the map, they want you to use teleporters, they want you to not double stack lanes like we normally do. The laning phase that we kind of questioned about, is it ending at 7 minutes or is it ending at 10 minutes when the trooper bounty changes? It's now going to be pretty definitively at 8 minutes. You're going to have a lot more options. You're going to be able to teleport, the trooper bounty changes, hard camps come up, and then also, additionally, the vaults are spawning as well. The vaults might also be known as the Sinner's Sacrifice, and these now spawn at 8 minutes instead of 10, and they respawn every 4 minutes. The laning phase is now really truly ending at 8 minutes, and the game is going to open up and kind of change. But that laning phase also has a kind of transitional period where the medium camps spawn at 5 minutes, you can still play your lane, and if you're winning your lane, you can inject some more souls into your economy, but really definitively at 8 minutes, the laning phase is over and the game becomes different. Looking at these next two lines, they're focused on the mid-boss, and we're going to read them out real quick. The creep buff has been rescaled from 70% to 50, 70, 90 for the first, second, third mid-boss death. And then secondly, the mid-boss rejuve respawn has been scaled from 50% to 40, 50, 60 for the first, second, third mid-boss death. So what these two lines are telling us is that Valve wants the mid-boss not to be the game-ending defining factor for the first mid-boss, but rather they want it to get more strong as the game goes on and put a hard cap on the game to make sure that teams can close out the game. The creep buff being rescaled, which is the trooper buff, it's the one that makes your troopers stronger in lane, it's going to let them naturally push. It's going to be weaker early and then stronger later, so that that first mid-boss doesn't feel as punishing, but the later mid-boss should really feel like there's a lot of pressure on you and it's punishing to lose it. Additionally, the respawn buff is also going to help out a lot. It's going to be weaker early game and stronger late game. It's going to allow that game to transition more into like the 30-40 minute minute area. It's going to make sure that the games don't end as early and extend later. The next section is about the urn and the urn delivery. First off, let's talk about why they might be changing the urn delivery. In the previous patch, what we saw is that a team would take the urn, they would walk it across the map, they would play on their side and kind of hide until they knew that the drop-off point was entirely clear, and then they would drop it off. But what this caused is a lot of power in the urn deliverer's hands to bring people over to the drop-off point, otherwise they'd be punished. If the urn deliverer just kind of sat AFK with the urn super far back under a walker or something like that, there was no counterplays to it, there was no taking the urn and delivering it yourself, they just had a large amount of power for just picking up the urn in the first place. It wasn't even the delivery that was the biggest part. Obviously you're fighting for the delivery, but you had the power to keep people at the drop-off point for a large amount of time. But now Valve solved this by allowing us to see whoever's running the urn on the minimap at all times. So you'll see your opponent traversing the map with the urn, and you'll be able to know if they're just sitting under their walker with the urn. Additionally, you can force it out of their hands by heavy meleeing them. They'll drop the urn now, and you can pick it up and deliver it yourself if that's what you want to do. And now because the urn is a little bit more difficult to do, they gave us more incentive to do it as well. Everyone's going to get a golden statue buff, the bounty has been increased, and the urn now falls a little bit faster. There was this weird timing with the urn and buffs where the urn would spawn and the buffs would spawn at the same time, but you had to wait for the urn to finally hit the ground to actually run it across. There's not going to be that weird lag time. You can go and take a buff on one of those 5-minute intervals and immediately grab the urn right after instead. Moving on to the next one, all heroes' move speed has been increased by 0.3. As we saw in our last meta update and patch insight, the map got bigger, and it kind of felt mandatory to get some of these move speed items, and it still feels useful, but with a mixture of this buff and then also some zipline tech where you can traverse the map more quickly, it's not as necessary to get enduring speed. It's not quite as OP as it was, and they also reduced the enduring speed buff as well. This is to give you more options about move speed. You don't necessarily need to pick up move speed as the game's going forward, and they're just trying to make sure that they counteract the map that they made larger previously. Bullet and Spirit Lifesteal now stack diminishingly. Stacking Leech, Spirit Lifesteal, and Enduring Spirit is not going to be as impactful as it once was in the past. You're going to need to diversify into how to stay alive, and you're going to need to pick up more options other than just one source of lifesteal to keep yourself alive. Additionally, we have new teleporter locations, which we can see here. And now after going through those teleporters, you're going to get 5 seconds of 3 extra move speed after you arrive on the other side. This is great because now teleporters are going to feel more useful. They're in some more central locations where you feel like you're going to get dropped off in a spot that's immediately accessible and useful. Now that we can connect between the walkers, it's going to be kind of hard to rat walkers and stuff like that. And once you use a teleporter, you're going to be able to traverse to your end goal more quickly with that extra move speed. So overall, this is a huge buff for teleporters, and you should really start to weave them into your map rotations. If you want a deeper dive into these patch notes and you want to see every single line one by one read out and kind of unpacked and understood, I actually do that on my live stream here on YouTube and also on Twitch. Both are going to be linked in the description, the VOD and also my Twitch channel. I'm going live on every major patch on every other Thursday, and I'm going through and doing a whole big patch reading with the community and talking about the changes. So next big patch, make sure to check it out on YouTube or Twitch and join us for the next new patch notes. I'm excited about the new patch in ranked mode, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on it. Did your favorite hero get nerfed? Did your favorite item get destroyed? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, everybody, have a good one.